everybody, and welcome to this really special presentation of Movie Talk. So, the last video that I posted on here, I was mentioning that I was lucky enough to have scored an exclusive interview with Greg Sestero from The Room as he's touring his new movie Best Friends around Australia. However, I think a day or two after I posted that video, the organizer of the event, Christian Fletcher, had messaged me and asked me if I could actually host the evening, which yeah, I probably couldn't say yes fast enough. I was really honored to have this privilege of hosting the night, but as a result, of course, I didn't really get a chance to interview Greg because, well, things got escalated. But I did manage to get in some of your questions that you guys submitted to this thing. With the Q&A, even though it was mostly about the audience, I did manage to get in some of the questions that had been submitted. Unfortunately, I didn't get time to ask everybody's questions because, across all the different social media platforms, I had 2 pages of questions that were given to me, so I didn't get a chance to ask everybody's questions, but hopefully, you know, if you didn't get your question read, you'll still be entertained by all the other questions and stuff. And look, it was just an amazing night. Greg is one of the nicest people I've met. As far as celebrities go, he is just such a nice guy. And I'm not just saying that in case he watches this video. Yeah, like, he was just such a pleasure to hang around with, and he was so gracious to all the people that he got to meet that night. I mean, the guy was really tired by the end of it, but yeah, he kept going, and you know, everybody got a chance to meet him and stuff. So yeah, it was such an amazingly fun night. So the way that the evening was formatted, there was a screening of the movie to start with, followed by the first of the Q&As. Then we had all the crowd came down to meet Greg and get things signed, pose for photos, that kind of stuff. Then there was the next line that came in, which everyone got to meet Greg, followed by another Q&A, and then a final screening of the film. Yeah, just so you know how it all went in case this video doesn't make sense. And as for the movie Best Friends, oh man, I'm going to do a review of it, but I've had to process this movie over the last couple of days because it is one of the strangest movies I've ever seen, and yeah, I really had to let it sink in a little bit, so I will have a review coming. There's plenty of crowd reactions to it, though, in this video, so yeah, if you ever get a chance to see it, definitely check it out, but yeah, I'll have a proper review coming of it soon. But in the meantime, I am very proud to present to you the Q&A meet and greet that we had with Greg Sestero the other night in Brisbane at the Dendy Cinema, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Volume 1! We'll bring out a guy who knows a little bit more about this movie than I do, but first let's introduce our host of our Q&A tonight, Mr. Dan Jensen from Movie Talk.
Thank you. Hello everybody! So, what did you think? That's good, huh? Awesome. Alright, so yeah, thank you so very much for coming out to this really amazing special night tonight. And also a really big round of applause for Mr. Christian Fletcher for putting this on, because, let's face it, yeah. So my name is Dan Jensen. I have a YouTube channel called Movie Talk, where appropriately enough I talk about movies. I do movie reviews, discussions, get roped along to these things on occasion. So by all means, come along, check it out. I love chatting with people about movies. But you did not come here to see me tonight. I couldn't help noticing. So I'm going to be introducing the man of the night. This guy, you know him, of course, as Mark from The Room. He's also the author of the best-selling book, The Disaster Artist. Would you please put your hands together for Mr. Greg Sestero? Is this on? Yes, that was on. There you go.
So, as I told you before, I was high when I wrote the script, so now you can probably believe me. But yeah, so a couple things really quickly. Oh. So that cowboy on the rock, because I heard some laughs, which is one of my favorite parts when I hear, what? He is a character in part 2. So we weren't doing the whole breast cancer thing where things just appear and then come back. The lemons and the bloody shirt will have a purpose, I promise you. So it'll all be wrapped up, hopefully.
Awesome. So, look, the first thing that I have just got to say to you, which I am obviously going to say on behalf of all of your fans, all fans of the room, oh, hi, Greg.
Oh, hi.
You know you all wanted to say that. So I have had a whole bunch of questions submitted from viewers from around the world. As soon as I said that there was going to be a Q&A, everybody was like, oh, we need to ask him questions and stuff. So obviously we're going to be passing it over to you guys to ask Greg anything you like. But I'm going to kick it off just with a couple of viewer questions from various people. So starting off with Trudy Martin. What did Tommy really think of the book, The Disaster Artist?
He called it the Red Bible. And then he said he approved of it 40%. But he approves of the movie 99%.
Right.
So when James asked him, like, it's based on the book, and he's like, well, the book has French style. So therefore, 49% off.
Fair enough.
59%, I don't know. Look, it's a good book, but that's about it.
I was so hoping you were going to do an impression. This was actually, there were just a couple more from her. How did The Room affect your career immediately after its release and then over the years?
So nobody saw it initially. It came out and played in one theater. They made $1,800 at the box office. So it was a huge hit initially. But it pretty much disappeared and it became this LA cult in joke where it would play at this one theater once a month and for free, and these college kids would show up and they'd seen it because there was a review that said watching this film was like getting stabbed in the head. And they're like, we gotta see this thing. So they watched it. Within 30 minutes they called all their friends, good thinking, and then they came up with the ideas of the spoons, like why is a framed picture of a spoon, like who would do that, and they started throwing pictures at the screen.
I've done it.
Yeah. So they started it, and so every month they would come see the movie, and that was about it, you know. And so there's a billboard up that had been up for, he left it up for 5 years. You would call the number on the billboard, he would answer, which had never been done before, which is amazing. So for a few years, I just did this, right? And then about 2008, 2009, I got a call from an Entertainment Weekly reporter. I was living in Europe, doing like fashion shoots and modeling and stuff, and then he's like, I just saw this movie and you're in it, and I want to talk to you about it. And I was like, But he's like, do you know that there's celebrity fans? Do you know that it's being studied in universities? And my mind was blown. And then so The Room kind of started to emerge around 2010 as this international cult movie. So normally being in a terrible movie, you figure that's got to just kill you. But it actually gave me a chance to tell a great story.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you've had such an unconventional rise to success. Like, would you have changed anything? Would you have had it any other way?
No, I mean, this has just taught me everything you need to know about life. That anything is possible, and if you just have a positive outlook, amazing things can happen. Because, you know, I went out for so many shows and movies, auditioning in LA, and I think, man, if you're going to get that, it's going to make you happy. And I realized, like, this was way more fulfilling than just being an actor, because you're able to see shit that you didn't think could exist. And then you appreciate things a lot more when you get to work, because you know how hard it was to get there. So I really appreciate the journey, and I don't really judge it. I just think, hey, this movie is seen as the worst movie ever, whatever you want to call it, but 15 years later, amazing people like you still show up and have fun with it. And I think at the end of the day, that's the goal, is to make something that lasts.
Absolutely, yeah. Round of applause for you guys.
And that's why I really wanted to reward you with the most batshit film ever. So.
We'll just do one more viewer question before we hand it over to these guys. This is from Steve Kirkham, who is one of the biggest fans of The Room you will ever find on the planet. In the Disaster Artist film, was there any thought of filming the Tommy origin story as it was covered in the book?
That was one of my favorite parts of the book, but I thought they did a really good job making the film and adapting the book, because if you start going too much into that darkness, it becomes a different film. So for me, when I was writing the book, I pictured like Javier Bardem playing Tommy, Ryan Gosling playing Greg. I pictured like Foxcatcher kind of vibe. So something a little bit more dark. But I think that becomes a different film, and I think they were very smart in making a movie that was universal, that was relatable, and you kind of root for Tommy instead of being really freaked out.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I thought that was a smart way to go. But I do love the origin story, and I think it works better in the book than it would in the movie.
Oh, very good. Well, thank you. So, yeah, over to you guys. Who's got some questions for Greg? This guy down here. So, yeah, okay, well, here you go.
What was your favourite part about making this film then? Best Friends?
Making Best Friends. I had a great time making this movie. It was much different than Making the Room for a lot of reasons. But Tommy playing a character that he fit, I think, was half the battle. My favorite moment on making this film was watching Tommy get choked by a clown. It was unbelievable. I mean, there was this shot where like the clown gets up and it's like he's gonna tap Tommy, but this dude straight up started strangling him as hard as he could, and I was like, we were all like watching, saying, dude, Tommy's gonna die. And Tommy finally yelled, cut! And then he gets up and he launches at the clown. He's like, do you know anything about acting? And so it was just something about watching Tommy yell at a clown and give him acting lessons that I thought, if this movie never gets finished, this whole thing is worth it.
Does anybody else have a question? Oh, lots of people. Okay, let's go close.
How much was Tommy paid for that?
2 million pounds of gold teeth. Also, what did you think about the lynch deal? Did you get a little lynch fight?
Near the end, yeah.
You're next.
It said at the start that it's based on true events, like to what extent and
Yeah. It was inspired by a road trip that Tommy and I took up the coast of California in which he thought I was going to try to kill him. I wasn't, but I rolled with that. And then my brother's a dentist, so he told me about this underground business that dentists do selling scrap, making lots of money because the price of gold and silver has gone up now. And so all the teeth that you see in the movie are real. So I'm sure that adds to its charm. But yeah, that is a true business that goes on.
Tommy seemed to be, his character was still a little bit of a victim and a hero in this film, as in The Room. Did he have part of the script writing process? Did he get to write his own lines? How much involvement did he have?
I mean, I wrote the part for Tommy because I can think like him at this point. And so I wrote the dialogue with him in mind, and we rehearsed it, making sure he was comfortable with it, making sure he believed in it. And then, yeah, you did, like, ad-lib a little bit, like the scene, the Chinese food scene. I don't know what happened there. That is some stuff he could do. And I feel like if he was on, it was worth letting ad-lib. But you're right, his character is very similar from The Room. And I just realized it today that he has another altercation on his birthday. I mean, it's like, I don't know if it's like I can afford it, that kind of thing. But yeah, another birthday for Tommy.
Hi, I'd just like to say I really love the cinematography and the music. It was great. Anyone? Yes? What about when you have the little kind of references to The Room? Did you do that initially or did it come after?
I just thought of something you said that I should follow up with. The cinematography, the music, the sexy dress, what's going on? No, there were no plans for any room references at all in the script. So when we were shooting, we shot on a real board set, which was life-changing and terrifying. But we'd have these dead bodies that would come in and out that would interrupt the shoot in the courtyard. And Tommy said, I'm tired of these dead bodies. I play basketball, leave me alone. And so we just started playing basketball, and we shot it, and it was like, oh, at least that's what these guys do. They're on a break. There's a basketball hoop here.
Uh-oh.
Hello.
How loud can you yell?
Maybe swap them up.
This one's not.
Just talk really loud now.
Okay, so so we shot that basketball scene, and
Hello. Oh.
hello. Oh yeah, okay. So we shot the basketball scene.
Please, I insist.
What are you doing with Greg?
And so we figured that's what these guys do. And then we're shooting this weird office place, and the character's like spying, and there's a spiral staircase. It's the only way you can get up, of course. And I thought maybe people will notice that, maybe they won't. The first time we tested it, it got a standing ovation. All right, gotta keep it in. So, and then the vampire blood, which I don't know if you guys noticed, was there. So I feel like as long as the movie did its own thing and a few of those references worked in, you gotta live with it.
All right, who else? You're making me walk all the way.
Really quickly, so the music that you commented on, we're very lucky to have Dan Platzman from Imagine Dragons that did the score for us. So if you guys know Imagine Dragons or whatever, thank him because he did a great job.
I've actually rehearsed this question like a million times, so hopefully I get it right. So, how many cameras did you use? Was it 35mm, standard HD? What else? Like, we need the details.
We did use 2 cameras. They weren't side by side, and we stuck to digital. Tommy did say recently, you know, I make a mistake. It's not worth to shoot on 2 cameras. So we stuck to digital this time around. It was a lot easier. Yeah.
We're going to have a steel cage match for who was first. All right, this guy.
I suppose the question is, what was it like working with Tommy and the cast and crew on Best Friends as opposed to The Room?
Best Friends was totally different. I think just coming into it, we were all really excited to make something new. There was a lot of exploration on this movie. We tried to do a bunch of different things. You know, we weren't trying to make like a specific movie. We were just kind of exploring these different themes, and I think it was a lot of fun in that way because I think The Room was kind of the first time we had ever made a movie, and there was people on the set that had no idea who Tommy was and didn't believe in it. You know, having read the script, so it was really different working on this movie. A lot of my friends were actors in the movie. The guy who played the scrap dealer actually was James Franco's producing partner who produced The Disaster Artist. So he had a really good chemistry with Tommy because they would argue all the time on the phone. So he just stepped right in and they just argued. But it was interesting to see actors who had never seen The Room before work opposite him because I thought it gave it a much more real flavor as opposed to people kind of trying to mimic The Room and all that. So it was a totally different experience. It was a smaller crew, but everybody there was trying to make the best thing possible.
There are actors who have not seen The Room. I thought that thing was like a benchmark for people to aspire to.
No, like the lead actress, Kristen, who plays Tracy, had never seen The Room before.
Wow.
And so she showed up at the morgue set to like have a meeting, and she saw me with like cuts on my face, and Tommy was like giving me dirty looks. Who are these people? And then I said like, oh, The Room, whatever. And she went and looked it up, and then she wrote to me. She's like, I just have a question. I'm sorry if this sounds rude, but like, do you guys do porno? And it's like, there's not one sex scene in this entire movie. I don't even know if there's a kissing scene. So it's PG-13, and she ended up saying, she recently told me, like, I don't know why I said yes, but she ended up having an amazing time making it. And then she saw The Room recently and thought, you didn't tell me you were in a porno. But, yeah, I think it was good to not push The Room on people and just let these actors kind of come in and feel like they were making something different.
All right, we got time for one more question, and it's going to this guy because he looks like he can beat me in a fight.
Yeah, mate, real quick, just thanks for signing the head real quick, mate. How long did it actually take to make the movie?
Took about on and off for like 6 months. Now we shot Volume 1 and Volume 2 back to back because we thought we were making one movie. And so we killed Build and realized there's 2 movies here. You know, you got this LA noir, creepy thriller, and then the next movie is like in the desert, kind of like a High Plains drifter, Clint Eastwood style movie. I was like, dude, you need a break after what you just saw. But part 2 is even crazier. It's my favorite because it kind of wraps everything up in a cool way. But yeah, it was about 6 to 7 months.
All right, well, speaking of wrapping things up in a cool way, thank you so much for taking the time to come and talk to these amazing fans of yours. So following this, there is going to be a meet and greet and a signing. But being that there are a lot of people here, and Greg probably does need to be somewhere by August, we would preferably try and keep it moving as quickly as possible, if that's okay with you awesome people. So, yeah, come on out, let's have some fun, and thank you so much for coming.
What did you think of the movie?
I loved it.
You loved it?
Yeah, thumbs up, but truly bizarre.
Bizarre, yeah.
Unlike the room.
Are you in any relation to Tommy?
Not quite, no. It was fantastic.
Fantastic.
Brilliant. Yes.
That's so good. What did you guys think?
Yeah, really good, yeah.
You loved
Anyone
it?
else on the line?
Sort of a feel of like those independent movies from like the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
Kind of like there's one by this Texas guy Eagle Pennell from the 80s, Last Night at the Alamo, and it really should be seen by more people.
Oh really? Yeah. All right, cool. Thank you.
No worries.
I thought it was wild, yeah.
Wild, yeah. Do you recommend it?
Yeah, definitely. If you're a fan of The Room, it's definitely one to see.
Excellent. What out of 10?
Out of 10. Be a 10.
That was pretty good.
Yeah. Thumbs up.
Awesome.
Awesome. Yeah.
I was going to make the Kill Bill joke, but you took it before I did. So.
Loved it. What about out of 10?
10 out of 10.
Yeah. Yeah?
Like, you do no wrong.
Yeah, loved it.
Greatest
creative duo of our time.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's good. Inspirational.
Inspirational.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Loved it? Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
One for the fans, definitely one for the fans. Yeah.
Okay, so what if you're not a fan?
Still something there for you.
That's great.
Yeah, something for everyone.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
This is it was pretty weird. It's what I expected.
Yeah, yeah. What about out of 10? What do you think?
Depends on what kind of scale. Out of weirdest scale, 10 out of 10.
Hey, welcome everybody to Best Friends Volume 1, the Brisbane premiere. Thank you so much for coming out tonight, and I'm glad you got a chance to meet Greg and get a few things signed, but don't need to hear from me. Let's pass you over to our host for the Q&A tonight, Mr. Dan Jensen.
Yeah, I love that. Hello everybody. So, yeah, my name is Dan Jensen. I am from a YouTube channel called Movie Talk, where I talk about movies. I do latest movie reviews, film discussions, all sorts of things like that. It's a lot of fun, so if you want, come on over to YouTube and tell me I'm wrong about The Last Jedi or whatever you need to do. So, yeah, well, this is a bit of a different beast, because before there was a bit of mystery with Greg off to the side and no one knew he was there, and I called him out and it was all rock star and stuff, but yeah, there he is. So, how about instead, this time around, on the count of 3, we give him a big oh hi Greg. 1, 2, 3. Oh hi Greg. Mr. Greg Sestero, everybody.
Hi everybody.
Oh. Yeah, hang on. Oh. Yeah, there we go.
Oh, hi everybody. There we go. So, how many people here have seen The Room before? Yeah. So you know what you're in for.
How many people haven't seen The Room? Ah.
Brave.
He's one of the actors from it.
Yeah, if you want to say actor. Yeah, I mean, this is a new movie that's coming. I never thought I'd work with Tommy again, for many reasons. But this was inspired by a road trip Tommy and I took up the California coast back in 2003, in which he thought I was going to kill him. So late one night I had an edible, and I started writing this script, and it went batshit. 4 days later, I had the whole script. I pitched it to Tommy, and he said, "Sure, sounds like a good idea."
And here we are, getting to see it tonight. I haven't seen it yet. I'm so excited to watch this movie. Yeah, now we're going to be doing a Q&A, of course. You can ask Mr. Greg Sestero anything you like about any topic. It can be about his movies. It can be about how he manages that gorgeous head of hair of his. But I am going to kick it off with, I've been submitted a whole bunch of questions from people around the world on my channel who desperately wanted to ask things. So I'll just kick it off with a couple here. So The Acorn from YouTube said, what was the drive and motivation that kept you working on The Room, even when you might have thought it wasn't worth it?
Well, I never thought it was going to be a good movie. I was just trying to help Tommy make the movie. And then a lot of days I thought, man, this thing's going to collapse. Everybody was quitting. You'd show up on set and it was like a new crew every day. To me, what I wanted to see, would he really hump that red dress? Because it was in the script, and it was like, we're getting there. That's okay. That's 2 weeks away. And I was like, is he really going to follow through and do what's in the script? Because people didn't have the script, so only I kind of knew what was coming. And then the day of, he humped the red dress. So it's almost like you had to finish and see this thing through, and that was one of them. And also the scene in which he had to shoot himself.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. All right, so I've got another question here from Instagram. This is Oisin O'Sullivan, I'm guessing. Sorry. What was your opinion of Dave Franco's portrayal of you in the movie, The Disaster Artist, and how accurate was James at depicting your story to the big screen?
I thought Dave did a great job. My beard, I think, was a little bit better. And I think he was a lot more hopeful than I was. I knew The Room wasn't going to be very good, but in the movie, I thought he did a good job of portraying a young actor who thinks this could be a good movie. And I thought James did an amazing job. I mean, he read the book. He had never seen The Room before. And he read the book halfway through. He knew he wanted to make it into a movie. He knew he wanted to play Tommy and his brother to play me. So we had a conference call to talk about this. And Tommy's like, well, who play me? I think we do Johnny Depp. That's what I think. And so James kind of laughed like, sure. And I was like, why you laugh? If you don't go down this road, you never know. Johnny Depp may want to do it. Why stop him? And then I was like, James, what about you? And Tommy's like, yeah, no, well, good idea, not bad. James, I see your movie, you do some good, some bad. And the rest was history.
Do you think we'll ever see
Johnny Depp in The Disaster Artist 2.
That would be something else. No, I thought James did a really good job of capturing the spirit of the book. I think he really related to the story, and in some crazy way, I think he related to Tommy.
Awesome. All right, now, over to you guys. Who's got some questions for Greg? Oh, of course, it has to be someone all the way out the back. All right, just if you want to like sing a song or something, just in the meantime.
Oh my God, he's crazy.
All right, over to you.
Hi, thank you for coming here. I know you had a really long flight, so how was your day today?
It was pretty good. I was delayed this morning at Adelaide Airport. And then I slept the entire flight, got here, was picked up by Christian, in which they took me around, and Brisbane seems like a great city, and I can't wait to, I was excited to be here with you guys and show you a new crazy movie, and yeah, I'm just excited you guys are here, so it's been a great day.
Does anybody else have it? Oh, come on, Ivan. Just come from there. All right, I'm totally staying up the back and going to come down to people. All right. This is awkward.
What was it like, what's the biggest difference between being in your early work of Patch Adams and Gattaca, those sort of uncredited roles, to going to like one of the main stars of the room? What was like the biggest difference for you?
Have you guys seen Patch Adams or Gattaca? Yeah. You have? Yeah, so I was in it for like 6 seconds. That was really exciting working on Patch Adams because I got to meet Robin Williams and piss off Philip Seymour Hoffman. So it was a great start. Yeah, I mean, just being an extra, you kind of are just there thinking someday I'll be in front of the camera, and then I never thought I would be on camera in a movie like The Room. I don't think anybody could ever foresee that. But it's random that the one thing that I did, which was The Room that I didn't think anybody would ever see, was the thing that people enjoyed, more than Patch Adams or Gattaca. So it goes to show in this business, nobody knows anything.
Anybody else? Yeah, gentleman there. Of course, halfway up the back this time at least.
All right, so psychoanalyze Tommy for us, Greg. I mean, I guess that's what makes The Room so much fun, is trying to figure out, and The Disaster Artist, what the fuck is going on with this guy in his head. You know him probably as well as anybody. What's going on in his head?
You know what? There's a part in the book, let me see if I can pull it up here, that sums him up very, very well. Okay, I got it. Watching Tommy perform this scene, I wondered what his psychologist or psychiatrist had made of him. I tried to imagine Tommy's mind from the inside out. I saw burning forests, blind alleys, volcanoes in the desert, city streets that plunged into the ocean, barricades everywhere, and all of it lit in the deep cherry light of emergency.
Awesome. I might throw it over to another viewer question, mainly because this is from Michael J. Lawless, and you've got to admit that is just the raddest name ever. What was your writing process for Tommy in Best Friends?
Well, The Disaster Artist gave me a great warm-up in how to write for a character like Tommy, because I really wanted to show the human side of Tommy that I experienced, and give him some balance. Because I think he's a guy who has a lot of passion, a lot of heart, he's just misunderstood. So in Best Friends, I took that and kind of made him an Americanized version of himself, but still the same kind of eccentric, misunderstood guy who plays a mortician in the movie, and just kind of wrote the way he would think and the way he would talk. So we rehearse scenes sometimes, and he's like, I really want to do exactly like script. And he would be doing the scene, and he'd look down at the script and be like, "Oh, I already knew the line. It's so easy." He's just a really fun character to write for because it's a lot easier when you can think like that person.
Awesome. Anybody else have questions? Oh, we got one over here.
Did you ever find out where Tommy is from?
I think there's some castle in Transylvania. I don't have the address yet, though, but I'm still trying to find out.
Who else we got? Oh, we got a few more hands now. Here we go. Who was first?
Hi, I've recently started reading The Disaster Artist. I haven't quite finished it yet, but I was wondering, what's the truth in the Bryan Cranston thing that happened in the film?
Oh, he said he was developing a show about like chemistry and drugs. And so he thought it'd be really good. Play one of his students. Just kidding. So that was all fake, unfortunately. I never got offered a role in the middle. I didn't meet Bryan Cranston until they shot that scene, so that was pretty cool. Because Breaking Bad's like my favorite thing ever. But yeah, no, that wasn't true, unfortunately.
All right, over here.
Hi Greg. How did someone like Michael Rousselet, who was one of the original fans of The Room, go from seeing you in like a little theatre in LA to then having you be one of the stars in Dude Bro Party Massacre 3?
Have you guys seen that movie? I mean, it's a good time. Yeah, Michael was the very first Room fan. He saw The Room in an empty theater and came up with the whole spoon idea. So I saw him at a few early screenings, and later on he said, "I'm making a movie. You got to be in it." So I figured I owed him for keeping The Room alive.
Especially in the audiobook and tonight, like you absolutely nailed the impersonation of Tommy. I was just going to ask, do you practice, or does it just come naturally? How much time you spend?
No, at this point, I don't need to practice. It's just like, I could just go into it. In fact, if you want to ask a question, I'll answer exactly the way Tommy would answer. I'll do a couple questions as Tommy really fast if you guys want.
Oh, okay.
I got one.
Here you go.
Mr. Wiseau, what is the secret of life?
The secret of life, that's a good question. Finally, we have a good question, my God. Who are you? Okay, Pete, what is your name? I don't know, I don't hear. So anyway, the secret of life is have good time. You know, we have nice people here, you have food, you have drink, and you just enjoy life, you know, because negative does not work, okay? You need to think positive, and that's it. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
What came first, the chicken or the egg?
Well, this, you know, young lady, she's beautiful, you know, but she got too far on this one. It's her birthday. She's excited. You know, why don't we bring her on stage? Why don't we bring her on stage? It's her birthday. She's beautiful. My God, she's beautiful. All right, what is your name?
Victoria.
Victoria. Let's say happy birthday to Victoria. Really quick. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. 100 more years. Okay. So the chicken or egg. Chicken is very tricky because they like to.
Cheep, cheep, cheep.
They like to bite people. The egg is very crazy, and that's why chicken have problem. You know, they always sit around. They get fat a little bit, and that's the story. But people like to be vegetarian, not eat chicken. I tried that little secret. I tried vegetarian, it does not work for me. Okay, so chicken, I'm sorry, we have to eat you. Okay, anyway, that's good. You're beautiful. Nice to meet you. Thank you very much. All right.
So you can channel Greg Sestero back again. I might throw one more viewer question in, and this is from John Turnbull. Why on earth did you make Best Friends a two-parter?
It wasn't planned that way. It was written as one script. We shot the whole thing, and we were going to do these test screenings in London, and I got to the part that you guys are about to see, and I thought, there's 2 movies here. One of them's a crazy LA noir story. The other's like a Breaking Bad, Fight Club, desert thriller. And I thought, they're going to need a break after seeing this part. So we just build it, turn it into 2 films. And I think you'll appreciate it, hopefully, after you see it, if you don't shoot yourself by the end. So.
Oh, wow. Okay, here we go. Oh, man. Yeah, okay.
Hey, do you wear Tommy's underwear? Like his brand underwear?
You know what, I'm not going to lie. I wore it last night. It's really comfortable. I think it's probably one of the best things he's ever created. It has a secret pocket, which I asked him why would there be a secret pocket in your underwear, and he said, you can either put credit card or condom. I haven't used a secret pocket yet, but it's a great underwear.
Any stupid comments in it?
That's what I should do. Good thinking.
So in the book, Tommy seems obsessed with like classic Hollywood leading men like Marlon Brando and James Dean. Did he ever mention how he actually watched those movies and the parts unknown that he came from, or why he gravitated towards that era of movies instead of more modern ones?
I mean, it's what he grew up with. I think Brando and Dean were kind of like looked upon as like the great dramatic actors, and I think that's what he wanted to be, kind of that leading man, rugged, intense, respected for their bravado. So I think he looked up to those guys for those reasons.
Keep talking, I'm going to go over there. One job, Greg.
But we watched those movies together, and I introduced him to some of James Dean's movies, so it's all my fault.
Hi Greg, in honor of Christian Fletcher, I was wondering what your favorite cult film is?
I would say Back to the Future. I didn't consider it a cult film, but the way they're marketing it here, that it's an 80s cult film, so. Princess Bride? Princess Bride, would you say Princess Bride's a cult film?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go with that.
But it's more than one viewing.
Hi, how's your sex life?
It needs work.
Did you hear that, ladies?
My God, he took gay people, forget it.
I'm actually going to throw one more viewer question because I think it's really interesting, and this is from Emily Green. In general, would you be willing to name a few of your favourite movie lines from both English-speaking or non-English-speaking films? And if so, which lines do you find memorable or pertinent in your opinion?
I do quote Back to the Future in this movie. There's a little homage to that, one of my favorite lines. And then another one of my favorite lines comes from the movie Nightcrawler, which came out in 2014, in which the Jake Gyllenhaal character says, "Fear stands for false evidence appearing real." And I think that's something that I try to live by.
Love that movie. All right, we've got time for one more question, and you just happen to have your hand up, so that question is all yours. You want it.
There's a question I also like to ask. I think it's really judge the character and put a really good insight into your name. What was your favourite dinosaur if you had to choose one and why?
I would go with the Velociraptor.
That's me too. Yeah, it's all about the nice choice.
These are really different questions in this Q&A than we had in the last one. We definitely didn't get any questions about dinosaurs and underwear in the last one. Or should I say, me underwears. But anyway, so yeah, thank you. We could ask him questions all night, probably all week if we really wanted to, but we've got a movie to watch. So put your hands together for Mr. Greg Sestero. And also a huge round of applause, Mr. Christian Fletcher, for putting us there on tonight. Take it out, sir. All right, so thank you all so much for coming out tonight. This has been just such a fun night. Enjoy the movie.
Cool. And a big thank you to Dan Jensen. Sorry.
Yeah,
thank yourself. Thank you. Enjoy Best Friends Volume 1.
So there you go, guys. That was our night with Greg Sestero. This has been such an amazing turnout. I haven't seen the film yet, but we're going to be going along to the next screening of this thing. So I can't wait because the buzz has been huge. These people have been absolutely loving this. Greg is an absolute champion. Seriously, one of the nicest guys I've ever met. He's not listening, is he? No, well, that's good. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. And again, I'm so sorry if not all of your questions were read because, prior to this, I was only going to be doing an interview with Greg and I didn't actually realize I was going to be hosting tonight. So I tried to get in as many questions as possible, but either way, I hope you were entertained by everybody else's questions. So thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you thought of this down in the comments below because I like to talk about movies and I would love to talk about movies with you. Catch you next time.
Click subscribe to stay up to date with all the latest movie reviews. Skynet will be taking over any day now, so what have you got to lose? Nyah.